Hey guys, it's me, Verlin. Wish me congratulations. Today I actually stayed asleep until around 6:37. So my jet lag is almost over. It's 8:27 a.m. right now. And I decided that I want to do this at least for 5 to 10 minutes every single day this month. So those that will stay with me, at least on this part of the journey, will look forward to seeing me every day. And I promise to start keeping them under 10 minutes. So this today won't be that long. I actually have breakfast going on in my kitchen, so I can't like let that stuff burn. And so quickly I'll just start by saying what I want to talk about. This today I woke up thinking a lot about what I'm going to be doing with my life, right? I'm a freelance journalist, with the emphasis on having main gigs. So most people will know my work with Radio Rookies at WNYC. I've also worked in various departments at WNYC, and I also have my bedsider work, doing video blogs for them, and I also have done workshops with the Museum of African Art, and I have my own nonprofit to lend center for the African child, and I have a radio show on WBAI that I co-host on Rise Up Radio. So I have all these various things going on, and I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anything? Probably. But these have been my main like gigs consistent. And I would say out of all those things, I get paid for like two or three of them, right? So and they're freelance, so most of them will be like for a certain amount of time, or it'll be for like a set amount each month. I've never had a full-time gig in my life. Let's just put that out there, right? Health insurance. Once I got off of my parents' health insurance, I haven't had health insurance, and I just recently got get set up with this public health hospital where I can go there and get care for like $15 a visit. So yeah, I've really been thinking, okay, so am I gonna change this? I started applying for some full-time positions, and it's hard because even though I'm a journalist and I really do pride myself, I love talking to people, and I love finding out people's perspectives, right? I also have a website, verilymedia.com, and my tagline is all about perspective, right? I love talking to people. I love networking. I love hearing people's stories. Um, but lately I've been feeling really okay, and also I just became a citizen, right? So I've been feeling like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna make a difference? And will being a journalist, especially in today's climates, enable me to make the difference that I'm. Ooh, my computer just went down. Enable me to make the difference that I want to make. And what I mean by that is, I feel in today's climate, you can't, as a journalist, if you have an opinion, you're automatically branded like bad, right? I feel like journalists constantly have to, um, not second guess themselves, but their instincts are constantly being questioned. And that's something that I feel like, even though I'm always open to having my opinion changed as a reporter, there are certain things just more morally and socially that I've experienced and lived in my life that I feel like are right and wrong, right? So not that I can see the benefit, I can see where you're coming from, but you're wrong. Theoretically, you're wrong. Like, I'll give you an example for something that I have reported on in the past, but I feel pretty strongly about now, and I guess I wouldn't be able to report on it in the future, which is stop and frisk, right? Um, I've reported on it in the sense that I've gone to the Bronx, where at the time, I'm sure it's still the same, but the New York Times did a report that said that the 44th precinct or 46th precinct, basically where I grew up, had the highest incidence of stop and frisk using force. And I went out there for Radio Ricky's actually to report on and get the stories of young men, black and Hispanic men predominantly, to find out their experiences. Like, does the data match up with people's stories? And of course it did. And through that, and then also just doing some interviews for Rise Up Radio on WBAI, I've heard countless stories of innocent black men, people that look like my brother, being stopped. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid of, my brother walking down the street and being stopped and for no reason, right? Someone that I know doesn't have a gun, he's not a drug dealer, like, all this stuff. On the other side, I I've talked to, I used to date a cop, and I've talked to him about it. And he's, I understand, I'm sympathetic with the idea that police officers are out there and they have to make decisions that are definitely going to let them go home to their families at night, right? So that's definitely something that I'm sympathetic with. But I think that there has to be a balance, and racial profiling is very real. And so, as a journalist, me coming from the position as a black woman that has a brother, can I report on that? A brother, a father, friends, right? Uncles, black people all over the place. um, can I report on that without having an opinion? And well, the fact that I do have an opinion on this subject, does that make me not a journalist, or does that make me unqualified to report on this? And if I did try to report on this and not have an opinion, am I making a difference? And I think that's kind of what I've now struggled with. Like, as a person that wants to make a difference in this world, not in a Gandhi like kumbaya. I mean, I love Gandhi, and I think be the change you want to see in this world, right? But sometimes, that's like this pie in the sky dream, and what is actually happening on the ground needs to be real and needs to be effective. And so, as a person that wants to be effective, does being a journalist enable me to do that? And I guess that's kind of what I've been struggling with these past couple of days. And now that I'm in this place where I want to kind of be more stable, how will what my next step be? Will that my next step be a reporter position at NPR, which has always been a long life dream for me? Or will it be a community organizer at in the communications department at some local nonprofit, right? Where I can bring my journalistic instincts and actually help a community, right? So that's kind of how I've been kind of struggling with. And I guess I'll put that question out to you guys, like whether you think I will be effective in which one would I be more effective in, and will it being a communications organizer in a local nonprofit disqualify me as a journalist? I guess that's kind of where, because I don't want to later on in my life, as maybe I'll be on CNN, whatever, and then all of a sudden they'll go in my past and be like, oh wait, hold up. She used to be a community organizer. Like, we can't believe anything she says. And so that's kind of like, this climate is so like thick with criticism, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. And just because I have so many women that have probably, I'm hoping, have struggled with this. I mean, not to say I hope they struggled with this, but I just hope that I'm not this confused basket case sometimes. I decided to Google, oh my gosh, it's already 8 minutes. I wanted this to be like 5. But I just really quickly, I Googled 2 women in the media that I really admire, and I hang on every word that they say. So I just wanted to quickly see what they thought about this. And one of those women, of course, is Melissa Harris Perry. She's an MSNBC host, and she's one of the most intelligent women I've ever heard speak in my life. And so I quickly Googled Melissa P. Harris and journalist. Melissa Harris Perry. Why do I say P. Harris? I don't know where I got that from. And journalism, and I came up with this really cool Media Bistro article she did. I guess Media Bistro has a series called "So What Do You Do?" and I just discovered it. And I'm going to probably read all of them by the end of the day. And she very clearly says, Melissa Harris Perry is no journalist. She respects them. She appreciates them. She depends at least partly on their handicraft. But she is pretty candid about not having the desire to be on the ground reporting or investigative news hound. The role she carved in the media marathon, she clarifies, is offering perspectives on the news stories that journalists produce. I'm an analyst and an academic, and my goal is to take and understand it, even while bringing data and evidence to bear and engage people who disagree with me in order to test those arrangements, she explains. And that was in quotes. And so she affect change by touching on the ideas of journalists, but she doesn't consider herself a journalist, right? And so I look at that and I'm like, I want to do that. But I also understand that Melissa Harris Perry is an academic. She's a PhD. She went through the academia route, right, to get to where she is. And so it took years for her to get there. So I guess what is my route? Like, what is my route going to be in order to become a thought leader in this way? Another person that actually took the route that I guess I'm on is Michelle Martin. I think I'm going to talk about Tell Me More every one of these things, right? But so Tell Me More, which I didn't say last time, is a show on NPR, and Michelle Martin is the host of the show. And I've listened to Michelle Martin now for maybe about 5 to 6 years. Like, I've listened to her, I think the day I graduated from college, and I was talking to Maxie Jackson, who used to work at WNYC, and I was just saying, like, man, Maxie, I didn't say it like that because I don't talk to Maxie like that, but I was just asking him, like, who are the women in NPR, black women in NPR, that are doing this? And at that time, you know, working at WNYC, that doesn't have any black women hosts. And so, and at the time, I don't know of any producer, like, on the content side. Yeah, the people of color in other areas, but I was just wondering, like, in the content side, producing side, who are the women of color in public radio? And of course, he told me about Michelle Martin. He told me about Michelle. Why am I blanking? I have her book right on my bookshelf. Michelle Norris. And Jesus, when I tell you, in the morning, my brain is not the best place to be. She used to host News and Notes. I've met her many times, and I admire her dearly, and I can't remember her name. But I'll put an annotation, so, because I'm not going to remember. I'm still thinking, but I'm not going to remember. So he told me about these 3 women at NPR. And since then, I've listened to Michelle Martin. And her route was to be a hardcore journalist. And I don't even have to look at her bio. I can tell you because I pretty much have stalked her for the last 5 years. She worked at the Washington Post, and she was a beat reporter. She moved her way up. She did the White House. She was on the White House press team, and like she just worked hard. And then, you know, when she got the opportunity to develop the show for NPR, which originally was digital, and then moved on to the airwaves, right? So she had this path that was very like on the ground reporter, working like that reporter lifestyle, and then she was able to have a show where she can kind of be a thought leader. And if that's kind of where I want to be, I feel like, okay, so those are the 2 routes. Like, do I go back to school and become this academic that thinks and reads and writes a lot about subjects and becomes this expert and then moves on to this platform? Or do I become a beat reporter, then work my way up and write really smart, intellectual, journalistic articles, and then one day have this platform where I'll be able to, you know, look at the work of other journalists and kind of like analyze and make change, right? And say things that will affect policies. Or do I, you know, map out my own route? And maybe my own route is to work on my community right here in New York City, in Brooklyn, or maybe go back to the Bronx and figure, you know, ways to change the lives of people that are on the ground, and then maybe work my way up once I get that experience. So in my head, I'm still thinking about the News and Notes reporter that I love dearly and can't think of her name. Anyway, it's now, oh my gosh, this video is 14 minutes. I have to stop. But I guess that's what I want to leave you guys with. Like, what do you think I should do? I'll just take advice for this one. My breakfast is probably burning. But that's okay. I really enjoy these, and hopefully you guys will stay with me as I continue to do them. All right, peace out.